I will duel him again!
Welcome back to Multiversal Studios. Have you guys ever wondered why Seto Kaiba was able to pull off the impossible? And no, I'm not accepting him being Seto Kaiba as an answer.
As a matter of fact, my first words were Neutron Blast Attack!
As illogical and crazy as Yugioh is, I have a firm belief that there's an explanation for everything if you dive deep enough. So let's address the questions that this scene raised, and we're going to systematically try and answer them. How did Seto Kaiba pull Obelisk from the ground? How was Obelisk even an option for Seto Kaiba in that duel? And finally, why did Obelisk look different to the Obelisk we're used to seeing? Now, if you watch the movie closely, because it took me for the 4th time watching it to realize that after Kaiba slams his hand into the ground, he draws Obelisk, but he doesn't draw it from his duel disc, he draws it from the ground. Now, I always wondered about this, but Aigami's friend Mani had something interesting to say. Now, I always wondered where the Egyptian god cards went after the duel with Little Yugi, but I always assumed that the gods were taken with Atem to the afterlife. However, it is revealed that actually the cards were sealed away deep within the burial place of Atem, which is where the ceremonial duel took place, and also the same place Seto Kaiba and Aigami were dueling in. In the movie, it is explained that Seto is able to use his new dueling system to be able to transfer his thoughts into reality by combining his sheer willpower, which in Seto's case is his ego, and his technology into forming reality. Now, I believe Seto accessed the power of Obelisk that was buried deep in the ground and combined it with his memories of Atem and made summoning Obelisk a reality. Now, you have to understand as well, before the duel starts, Aigami transports them to a space in between dimensions in order for their duel to take place, meaning that from that dimension, Kaiba could probably easily access powers that didn't necessarily belong to him. As Aigami said, Obelisk was the pharaoh's servant and that power belonged to the pharaoh. Kaiba, as you are already aware, is an ancient reincarnation of Priest Seto, someone who fought bravely by the pharaoh's side. And when the pharaoh passed on, it was Seto who ruled Egypt with the Millennium Puzzle. Now, it's not confirmed, but it's widely understood that since Seto was the new pharaoh and was related to Atem, as they had the same bloodline, that he could also access the power of the Egyptian god cards. Now, since Seto used Obelisk during his time in Battle City, Seto's affinity to the god cards was strongly attached to Obelisk. So in theory, Seto probably could have summoned any of the god cards, including Slifer and Ra. However, I think Seto being able to summon an Egyptian god card from sheer willpower alone would have been impossible. I think it was largely down to the strong connection he still had with the pharaoh and his ties to ancient Egypt. Now, Atem was still living rent-free in Seto's mind, and in Seto's mind, it wasn't Seto who put Atem to rest, so therefore his presence is still at unrest. Therefore, if that was the case, it would also mean the Egyptian god cards were also present, and if Seto believed that enough, he could make his thoughts into a reality. But I do also want to stress that I don't think anyone else could have achieved a feat like Seto did. I think Seto Kaiba was an outlier, an exception to the rule, as he just ticked the right boxes for being completely insane, as well as still having faith in the pharaoh's existence in the mortal world. And if you mix all of that with Seto's strong ties with the ancient past, you get Obelisk the Tormentor. You really won't get another person like Seto Kaiba. Why did Obelisk look so different to what we're used to seeing? Well, this is my interpretation. When Pegasus created the god cards, he designed the god cards using etchings from the stone tablet as a reference. Now, I believe the spirits of the Egyptian god cards inhabited the duel monster cards, and each time they were summoned, even though they possessed the real power of the gods, it was a virtual program, and they had effects which limited what they could actually achieve. Now, when Obelisk was summoned by the pharaoh in the ancient times, it had its true form of Obelisk, and it wasn't a hologram, it was the actual god with all of its powers. Now, when you look at what Kaiba summoned in the Dark Side of Dimensions, it looked exactly like the design from the ancient times, which tells me that in the duel, Kaiba never summoned the card version of Obelisk, he summoned the god himself. Now saying this might also just be a different style of Obelisk, just like how Dark Magician received a new art for the movie, but I like to imagine it my way. Let me know what you think about the appearance of Obelisk in the comments down below. Also guys, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe. Let's try and hit 10,000 subscribers. Until next time guys.